One thing that's very true about the property, especially where the house is, the reason why we're not doing a basement is because we have groundwater seepage. Here we are in August, and that is groundwater that has wet the gravel base below the footer forms. So that's something I have to take into consideration, and why there was no basement installed here, and why we only went with a crawl space. Still gonna have to do French drains around it and some other things to ensure that we don't get our crawl space filled with water. One of the primary reasons why we didn't do a basement is because of the extremely high water table and the fact that during the summer it tends to fill up. Well, of course, we're going to get more water in the house foundation. I guess this is going to give us a good idea of how much water we're going to have in here any given summer, and certainly the need for a sump pump in the crawl space. Well, the water continues to rise from the as the water table does. And I've got about, I don't know, foot and a half of water throughout the entire excavation area where the foundation is going to go. While a little bit frustrating, and it certainly is a huge setback to the plans I had as far as getting that part done, the golden, or the silver lining, if you will, of this is that I hadn't put down the interior footers frames for the pony walls that hold up the subfloor and floor joists. And so in doing my research, it looks like I'm going to put in a French drain into this and a sump pump. I'll use a 4-inch corrugated pipe, PVC pipe, to go around the perimeter of the entire area. And then I will add a sump pump into the lowest point and a sump pump pit, and then start draining this out. So realistically, it's better to have found out now. Apparently in this area, and having talked to the neighbors and some other things, this happens quite a bit. At least not quite a bit, but it happens once a year around this time of year. And so at least we know, and we found out early before we got cement poured and had a bunch of stuff to have to undo in order to put that in. So what we'll do, so now we'll go ahead and get our French drain installed, and I've got the pump on order. As soon as that arrives, we'll get that in and start emptying this out and letting it dry out so we can continue. So stay tuned as we work on our newfound lake. So I figured out my plan to fix the problem here. First step I'm going to have to do is actually drain this swamp. And so I got a hold of a Wayne 1/3 horsepower sump pump and a bucket from Home Depot. Drilled a bunch of holes in that to help with water seeping into that. So we'll lower that pump into the hole with a bucket and dig a hole down there for that to start draining water out, give it kind of a base to pull water from. And we'll start pulling out the water as much as we can and piping it away from the foundation excavation. And then it comes down to letting this dry out. So once it does dry out, I've got a plan to put an interior drain, French drain for it, and then rock on top of that, so that in the future we'll have a sump pit and a drainage system for when this happens again in the future. And we'll see. Hopefully this will alleviate the problem, and I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. there's nothing.
Quicksand. Shit.
Well, so far it seems to be working. So keep our fingers crossed and see how she pumps out. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, so far it seems to be working. So keep our fingers crossed and see how she pumps out. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, the first day of pumping water out of here is complete. I got about half of the water out with this pump, and it's going pretty well. Problem I'm kind of concerned about is I see bubbles coming up, so it means it's still filling. So my thought is that the water table has a certain level that it hit and maintained and stopped at, and hopefully it won't continue to fill up at the same rate that it did. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll get back at this tomorrow and start pumping again. But tomorrow, while that's going on, we're also going to be doing some the shop slab pour for concrete, so we've got a busy day tomorrow.
Well, nobody can say that we didn't provide a natural resource for wildlife.
Well, it's the next day, and I came out to check the water level, and sure as enough, as much as I pumped out got refilled. So I think this water table stabilizes at a certain level and then just stays there. And as much as I keep pumping out, it just keeps refilling to the same lines. So I think this is going to be an ongoing fight. I'm going to pump some more today, and we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see what gives. I'm also going to chalk it up to fate, that this is need to focus on other things while this is doing its thing. But I'll take some time, go talk with my neighbors as well, and see what their thoughts on how long this lasts before it dissipates. I know it's not a long period, but it could be another month. It'll slow down the work we're doing on the house.